Remember, I had to tell a colleague, stop micromanaging me. Do you mind? Can you back off a little bit?
Let me do my thing.
Yeah, let me do my job. I'm not a newbie.
I had experienced like blatant harassment. The moment we got into the car, his hand was on my thigh.
It wasn't something I really did, right? Okay, this is what happened. Have you ever experienced toxicity at your workplace? Have you ever experienced Monday blues where you wake up in the morning and you just feel like pulling the sheets over your head and continue sleeping? Not because you are tired, just because you are not happy with where you are going to. You are not happy with your place of work. You don't feel fulfillment. You just feel everywhere is toxic. With me, I have my sisters, Izo,
Okiki,
Osas, and we are on toxicity in the workplace. Welcome to OpenTabletv. This is an opportunity to appreciate and thank every subscriber, every viewer, every fan. We see you, we hear you, we love you, we appreciate you. Please, if you have been watching us and you have not yet subscribed, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Click it. We would like you to join our family and our community. I'm sure you're enjoying what you are watching. And also, like and share. Leave a comment below. We would like to hear from you. Thanks to all those who have been leaving comments. We appreciate them. Thank you. On the issue of toxicity at workplace, what is actually toxicity?
Toxicity is never accidental. It's created. I like to put it in a plain term where you're working in a place where you're constantly on eggshells because you're depressed, you don't feel motivated, or the way they create that environment around you just doesn't enable you to thrive. There are many factors. It can be bullying, it can be harassment, intimidation, poor communication, the list goes on and on. But once you are not comfortable in your place of work and it's now affecting your health, it's already toxic.
I totally agree with everything Izo said about toxicity in the workplace and how well she described it. So going to work, your co-workers, your colleagues are giving you bad vibes. You don't feel part of the team. Maybe you don't feel welcomed. Your opinion, your suggestions are not kind of welcome, maybe pushed aside, or probably because someone feels you don't deserve that position, or they feel you don't, like you're not qualified enough or something. Like they just have this discrimination against you, maybe because of skin color, who knows? Or some people just wake up, there's nothing you've done to them, they just don't like your person. Or at times, if it might also be due to the fact that you stand up for yourself, like, oh, I won't take this from you, I won't allow you to treat me this way, I know my right, and things like that. Some people become so toxic too. So
would you say toxicity has any geographical limitation? Because like you mentioned, skin color, and we know that is when you are in a foreign land that maybe skin color might matter, but if you were in your own country, I mean, it won't be skin color. So is toxicity in the workplace, or a workplace that is not as welcoming like you described, is it limited to a geographical location?
no, I wouldn't say that. I would even want to say back home where you have people of same skin color, same tribe, same cultural beliefs. They are still toxic work environment, and it's where your boss can determine your growth at work. Like if your boss is not in support of your promotion, I bet you can have you can be stagnant on one position. So it's not limited to
any particular environment.
No, I don't.
You agree
I don't
to, right? You mentioned some points that can cause toxicity. Let's talk about bullying.
Bullying, as we all know, is when you're oppressing somebody or treating somebody in an oppressive way. In the workplace, it might be that you have a boss that it's not so common here, but in other climes, like you mentioned, shouting, just making you feel diminished. So instead of talking to you with respect, they use maybe racial slur, or they say things that make you just cower down. That's bullying, or intimidation or harassment. For me, not here where we are now, back in my former place, home country, I had experienced like blatant harassment where I got a job. It was a marketing job, and I had a co-worker that was a senior marketer that was supposed to train me in this marketing job. And the very first trip we went for, the moment we got into the car, his hand was on my thigh. I've not had a slim girl before. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be. So that's blatant sexual harassment in the workplace. And I just couldn't stand for it. So I quit. So that can be sexual harassment, bullying, intimidation, all wrapped in one.
Yes, because that can actually play out to be like an intimidation. Indirectly, he's already telling you he has an interest. And because you said he's a senior marketing officer, if you do not play to his gallery, especially in the environment you might be in, might not be an environment where you can easily report such situations. And then he becomes to like
the Lord and Master.
And starts intimidating you and harassing you at work, looking down on you and making the whole place toxic. You are so uncomfortable with that environment.
So that's a very blatant case. But in some other cases, it's subtle. It might not be as the night and day, like I said. It might be people talk to you in a condescending way, because they think you speak with an accent, and because you speak with an accent, you're not intelligent. So they talk to you in a condescending way. I don't know how else to articulate it. But when they talk to you, you know that, okay, this is not how they talk to other people. So why do they treat me as if I have the intelligence of a 5-year-old?
On the subject of bullying, let me still explain. What do you have to say about that?
Bullying might not even be from your superior. It might even be from co-workers and even people that report to the supervisor or manager, like the superior. Because, for example, now we have people that have been working in a place for many years, 20 years, 30 years, and there's a new manager, supervisor that comes in. Like some of them might want to make the work environment toxic, like, because for you to achieve success as a department, then you need teamwork. You need your entire, like, from the lowest person in the
establishment,
to the, like, you need everyone's support to achieve success. You can't do it alone, right? So if people that are reporting to you, or there's people that are supposed to support you to achieve success are making life difficult, like they are not doing their task, they, like, on purpose, some people may, so in
to
that
frustrate
kind of
the supervisor, the senior
so that kind of, the head it can be a form of bully, like, oh, what do you think how would you just come and want to manage me? I've been here for 15 years. That just came, especially if it's a position that maybe they put in for, but they might not be qualified. Like, the hiring people know the reason why they didn't hire them. So in that situation, they might start bullying the manager to make sure that I'll frustrate their efforts.
So that means toxicity in the workplace can even go from bottom up, and also can be from the top to the ones at the bottom, and even it can still be lateral, the people of the same level. So there are different forms of this thing, because colleagues have been in a place where people amongst colleagues, they bully one another, using the word bully, because when I say bully, it's not like they are aggressive and all that, but that's bullying where they are trying to almost connive with people, almost raise people to just look for your fault.
Yes.
Look, go, they start with gossip. Right. Oh, this person, she doesn't do this, and then, this person that never had a bad impression about you observes and, oh, that might be true, and develops that impression about that person. And it has happened to a colleague that I know about, where I just saw that talk going around about this new person that just came in, not given enough time to grow, not given enough time to settle and establish their knowledge in the environment. And then there's already some kind break room talk and gossip about that co-worker. Oh, she's not doing well, or he's not doing well. They did this and that. And then that impression now goes around. And before you know it, the person, everybody is sizing up that co-worker and going up. And if that person is awake, you will notice that something is happening. I'm feeling the vibe from this, maybe not everybody, but this group of people. And it really, it's nauseated me. Unfortunately, I couldn't really do much about that situation, like speak up for that person at that time, which I feel so bad for, because I remember I couldn't speak up for her, and I was like, but why are these people doing this? Why don't you give her time to settle and understand the environment before, you start saying mean things about her ability, just as if in a way to say, oh, we are not going to allow her stay. No, we are not going to allow her stay because we feel this, that. And because of that, you're cooking up stories, or you're looking for things to just go to report about that person, just among your colleagues. So I interpret that as bullying.
Yeah.
And so it makes the environment toxic.
Exactly.
And at times, some of these pet talks might even be lies. I've heard of a story of colleagues gossiping about, and actually it was a lie. Like, it's a night job, and the guy was just seated on break. Like, everyone has their break time. The fact that I'm on break doesn't mean I have to be eating. I might not want to eat at that time, and like sitting down and relaxing. And before like the news went around that the guy was sleeping on duty. So it took the intervention of, like, it went around to the manager, and they had to, like, where was this story coming from? The guy said he had to meet the guy that started this and told one person, like, before, you know, like, why would you now say, I thought you were sleeping? It was actually not said in a serious way. I was joking. But why didn't you joke that I worked hard? Why didn't you joke that I did extra for the department? Why would you joke that I was sleeping on duty? So in that kind of situation, frustrating someone,
False allegation.
false allegation, yeah.
And,
Why would
you will notice that such a person that had made such a false allegation is not even your friend.
Yeah.
The person might not even be the person that talks to you on a normal day, but is already looking for something to just quickly bring out to you. I remember that kind of scenario, not for me. It played out in a way that I saw somebody who went to report an incident. It wasn't something I really did, right? Okay, this is what happened. There was a time when I get to work, just some people in some quarters, they just tune on maybe a music on their laptop and is playing silently. And I was like, okay, I love to play music while working too. It helps me to relax and enjoy my environment. So I imbibe that culture. I met it there. I met people doing it. As long as it's not rowdy, I think it has to be structured in a way that you don't make everywhere noisy. So I also, once in a while, on my own system, I just, I want to play music. Do you mind? And my partner says, oh, no problem. I turn it on. And then one day I came to work and I saw on the board, just the next day after I had done that, please, let's not turn on our music. And that was not the first. Even I had heard the music play. I've been like 7 months into the department and I've heard different people play music every day. But now, like, I did it once and I felt so bad. I felt, is it because I did it? And this person doesn't even talk to me.
Right.
The person that made that observation and, wrote it on the general board. Please, let's tone down music. Some people are disturbed or affected because of playing of music. And I was like, but this thing has been going on ever since I joined this organization. How come I played music yesterday and now somebody's writing a note? Anyway, I felt it was a direct attack on me. And I talked to my manager about it. I will never do it anyway if it's agreed upon, but I felt I was targeted. And I talked about I said, am I being targeted? Is it a target on me because I played music yesterday? There's a proverb that says, the witch cried yesterday and then the child died this morning. So who killed the child? So it's like, why is it all of a sudden after Osas has played the music, now this rule is coming up? Okay, I don't belong, and this person that wrote that has never said hello to me. Doesn't even say greet me, but you could point out. So that's where I can relate with sometimes the people that pick on you are not even the ones that talk to you, but sometimes the other way around too happens, where you see the person that laughs with you is the person that goes to report you. It's just a funny world. However, toxicity at the workplace is real and some people are passing through it. Okay, we talked about bullying. The other points you made regarding micromanaging,
where you are given a task to. So again, in the workplace, everybody has what they call the job description, and you have tasks that you are told to do either routinely or periodically, whatever the case may be. I believe that employee was employed because of his skill set. So allow the person some space to do the work. Not that the person is following the set guidelines or SOPs or whatever you have in your workplace, and then you're constantly coming to peek at what the person is doing, not for coaching reason, because there's a fine line between where you're looking at somebody's work to coach the person and give the person the feedback, or just to talk the person down, diminish the person, so that the person has a less sense of worth. So that's what I call micromanaging, and it can create a very toxic workplace where you are now like, I don't know, you do this, you are not sure if it's right. You're now second guessing everything that you do because they made you feel as if you are not up.
Somebody is breathing down your neck, not to even keep you on your toes to achieve, to meet up the target, but just to correct you, like looking for you.
Beat you down. Again, that's the very key part of it, because if you're checking the person's work, even if maybe, yes, the person is assigned these tasks and out of care, or maybe you are superior, or even if you're a colleague, but the intention is genuinely to help the person do better, to set the person up for success, that's better. But when it's a case of, oh, you didn't put this file right, this is how they do it, you never do anything right, little words people would throw at you just makes you wonder, okay, do I not know how to tell the difference between A and B anymore? So intention matters. Micromanaging.
Like you said, like there's a difference between correcting someone out of like you want the person to improve, or maybe trying to find faults or make the person look bad, like throwing the person under the bus. There's always a difference. So if you think you hired someone, I believe for you to hire, you believe the person has the experience and also is qualified to do that job. Why not allow the person do that job rather than you micromanaging, trying to find for the managers and different styles of managing people, even colleagues, and like some people are those that like teaching, watching after your step. I don't like to work with that kind of person because it makes you second doubt yourself.
Yes.
Like even when you start trying to make, you won't be so sure like, oh, am I doing the right decision? Because you don't know the one you would do that they would pick for there. So in that kind of situation, you won't even be able to develop yourself. So allow your team members, like managers should allow their team members as a superior. When you have people reporting to you, people gossip a lot. Like I don't know, like the time they should use to focus on their own task. You are not the manager, you are not the supervisor. So why are you picking on other colleague? Like I can't imagine myself getting to work and the next thing or the first thing I would do is trying to look through other people's work, what they've done, like just to find faults.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And when you find, and the next thing they will go meet the managers or supervisor trying to, this person made this mistake. Why not leave it to the person who owns the task to verify the task to find out?
I think the one that really jars at my nerve the most is, let's say we are colleagues on the same level, and then you observe that maybe there was an omission in something that I did. Why not just shoot me an email? Oh, you left this out. Some will write the email and copy all the managers.
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
what is the goal?
Yeah.
Is the goal to help me be better, or is the goal to make me look bad?
That copying of everybody at times doesn't get like we've talked about this thing. I've had that situation. We've talked about it in the morning meeting. We had this, and I told you I'm on top of this. This thing is not due till April. That was last year, I think around November. Like we spoke about, it is not due till I would make the correction, but right now that's not on top of my table. I work with Paris, and the next day, like I had to correct the manager of this person on something, like, oh, I was expecting something from them. And the next day, I just saw this guy write all this, like, we are supposed to have done this. We've pointed it out since something. If by April, if this is not done, when it's time for us to do it, we will not verify. Like, that was when I wrote the epistle. Like, I replied the email, copying it, but like, this thing is not due to, if by April, the correction has not been made, I believe that's when you should hold me responsible. I can't leave what is due at this moment then to concentrate, but I just believe in that situation. Why are you we've talked about this physically, like why are you now copying the entire nation just to see like maybe she's not capable, she's not doing what she's not what she's not supposed to do.
Yes, that was
that was November. It was not even due to 2026 April, so I still had time. Like I was just doing what was necessary at the time. Like you copied my manager, copied your own manager, copied other people. Like that was.
Yeah, I think there are some colleagues at work that are very good in projecting people's deficiencies or omissions and errors. They are very good in pointing touchlights on them, and that is just their own job. And so that makes the environment, especially when
toxic.
Well, if it's just one person that is known for that attitude, it might not be a toxic environment, because maybe that one person among, say, 10 colleagues or 15 co-workers is just, if everybody knows that person for such a negative behavior, I won't even count that as a toxic workplace. But when you have majority or a good number of staff that actually live like that or act that way, then of course it builds the toxicity to be a very higher level. I can only say, but if it is your manager, that manager alone can even make the whole environment toxic. Yeah, even if it's the manager might be bad or supervisor might be that toxic, and then every other co-worker is good, it still makes the environment toxic. But one co-worker who is in that has that character might not make the environment toxic. I remember I had to tell a colleague, stop micromanaging me. Do you mind? Can you back off a little bit? Because let me do my job. I'm not a newbie. Yeah. It's a different thing if I'm new And like you said, you're trying to coach me, or I have to like keep checking up with you.
Right.
Oh, I've done this. I hope it's okay. Is it good? Is that right? You know, maybe the first couple of months at the place of work, but I've been here for a year because we end up working together, because my job is a kind of shift job. And so you get to work with different team at different days. And I'm working with you on this day, and you are almost treating me like your child. Yeah. Oh, have you done that? Okay, go and do this. Have you done? I might not come to work that day. In fact, in the middle of the shift, I can call in sick.
Yeah.
Because you are like breathing down my neck, and I know what I'm doing. Can you mind your job? Because you are not here to supervise me. You have your own role. I have my role. Let me complete my role. If you have any input or anything, on a friendly level, you can chip in. But when you want to ensure we're all on the same level,
now my supervisor.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Even if you came in like a senior colleague, you came in like 2 years ahead of me, doesn't make you my boss.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me. So take it easy and tone it down. And I had to like, can you back off a little bit? You are micromanaging me. I said it. I wasn't too harsh anyway. Too when I said it, because I'm not a type of person that passes my message across harshly. But she got my message because I was actually direct. And that was not the first time, second time. So I think I got here and I had to just voice it out. So yeah, micromanaging can make the environment toxic when it's more than
I
one
also
person.
think poor communication too can contribute to a toxic environment where the directive or the guidelines that you're giving, this is now superior to subordinate, where you don't give all the information and the person runs with half information, only for the person to now fail at the task. And you deliberately withheld, because you see it, you withheld information because you just want to make the person look bad. So that can also create a toxic environment, especially when there's an umbrella
organization.
So everybody's now saying, but you are supposed to have done this. I wasn't punished with all the information. So I work based on the information
that I have.
I had. So
in that regard, I will almost say toxicity in such a situation is like when it's been a repeated instance, maybe not a one-off.
Yeah.
A one-off thing is not toxicity. I mean, let's be very clear about toxicity. And one-off might not be toxic, but when it's a pattern, when it's repetitive, when it is intentional consistently, then of course the person keeps coming to work and feeling, which one are they going to do against me today? Or which pit will I fall into? What pit have they dug for me to fall into so that I can jump and pass?
But in situation where you have just one colleague, because I have a sister that experienced that, and the guy made it clear that they used to be in the same team, but the guy made it clear like, I don't want to be in a team. Like someone that once made a bad compliment about addressing. So the manager knew, so they had to switch their team. Whenever she's on morning shift, the guy doesn't want to work on morning shift, would rather want to be night or afternoon. So in that kind, we call that company, that kind of workplace, a toxic work environment, because it's just the manager, the other work colleague are so sweet and they have very good relation, just one person.
So toxicity is a different level. It's toxic.
It's still
toxic. It might not be in the level that is really high, but anything that makes you not want.
But she wasn't bothered. She was going to work because it was just like when out of pool of people, just one person, and everybody can tell that.
No, if she wasn't bothered, why did they not have to stagger?
Because the guy said he doesn't want to work with her. It didn't affect her because she was just like, it's your problem, and the manager switched.
The truth is, when I won't call that toxicity.
Okay.
If it's just one person you don't get along with, you can't get along with everybody. There are some people in my place of work currently I don't get along with. And I can even change shift because of such people. So, I have to be different. That's the fact for me too. So I won't call it toxicity. I just know that we don't get along. And it's a known fact. Even they say it at my workplace, like, we know you people don't get along, but they won't tell you to change shift. It's up to you to decide whatever will make you work better, because the main thing is you don't want to come to work and you are loggerheads. You are quarreling and fighting, or you are not taking instructions and you're not working as a team.
So what if it's not the type that is a shift thing? What is that 8 to 5 and then stagger it? What do you know?
Then the most important part is to now act professional. Because there are some people that you have to, at that time, you might end up working together.
Right.
So You just be professional. That's what brought you together. Just where is toxicity is where it's now the person is getting at you.
Like cohort
It's
or
on
something,
you.
they are pulling together.
Things like that. It's now maybe one person now trying to gather people to make the environment uncomfortable for you. Yeah, that's when you can. But in that kind of situation, if that one colleague makes the environment uncomfortable, you escalate it to your manager.
I think it was even the one. I think it was the one, because what happened was, I guess, just because she was new then, they're colleagues, but she came after him. He has been there for some, and everybody has their JD, right? With the kind of people they deal with. So was trying to push her to the risky part of the job. It's something they are supposed to do collectively, but like maybe because of my skin color or something, like you should be the giving the difficult, and she stood, you get, and she stood up for herself. No, we earn same salary, we are on the same, like you are not my senior, so everybody has what they are supposed, and I won't do beyond what. So that was what brought about. Some people see you and think, oh, I would boss you around, and when you stand up for yourself, no, I'm not that kind of person. But they will see you as someone they don't like.
There's this conversation. If the manager, maybe your boss, is now making the environment uncomfortable for you, probably is your manager, because we've talked about colleagues, right?
Yeah.
If your manager is making the environment uncomfortable, how do you handle such a situation?
Well, so it depends. Like my very first case, I left. But if it's something that maybe is a communication, if it's a poor communication thing, I can have a sit down to just understand. Is it that I don't understand you when you speak to me? That's why I'm not getting the information. I'm getting this vibe. I just want to have a sit down so that we can be on the same page. Based on what the manager says, I would know that, okay, it's either I didn't understand the person or this person is really out for blood. And then if the person is out for blood, if the incident is such that I know that I have a solid case, I will escalate to HR. But if maybe there are loopholes in it and there are other ways, I would come to the decision where I'm either going to swallow it and stay because, you have
no other option.
Have daily bread, or I find an exit plan of getting another job, because your mental health is important. There is nothing as torturous as waking up in the morning and you get to the office, you're like, I don't know which Peter will fall in today. That's the worst way to live. So I mean, if it comes to that, I will get an exit plan.
I want us to ask us, what other signs of toxicity can one experience in the workplace? We've talked about a couple of them.
Yeah.
One can look out for, because our viewers are watching and they want to like, oh, so is this, they can relate to what is happening at our workplace. If you are still watching to this point and you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just hit that subscribe button. I'm sure you're enjoying our conversation, and comment, because we might not be able to say everything. Leave your opinion in the comment section. I want to hear from you.
So I would say, if it's a workplace that the pay is good and all that, places that are very toxic, they high employee turnover. So people quit easily because they're like, okay, I don't want this, I'm going. You also notice that the environment is just, people are subdued, in the sense that, especially if the toxicity is coming from the top, people don't speak up. You go to some places and maybe you are like a new person and you say, oh, why is this happening? Nobody talks about it. You just know that, okay, this is where I cannot air my view freely, because for whatever reason the powers that be don't want you to speak. So there will be that also.
Aside from working in an environment, doing your normal job that you are being paid for, your JD, there should be some level of relationship friendliness in your workplace. Like, so when you get to a workplace and everyone is just strictly on business, fine, it's always good to face the business that is paying the bills, right? But I believe some little chats, some little checking up on each other. Your colleague is not feeling well, you can just drop, oh, get well soon. I don't have to say, oh, can I come to your house? You don't have to know my house, right? But checking on each other, some little bit of friendliness,
cordiality.
Is a thing that you can watch out for. But if everyone is just on their own, I'm doing my thing, you are doing your thing, I don't know anything about you, you don't know anything about me, beyond do your job, let me go, then it might kind of be a toxic work environment. Another thing is, if you're talking about superior now, if your superior is not supportive of your career, you're asking for growth. It might be in form of promotion. It might be in form of training. It might be in form of, or maybe you complained about your work environment. It's not comfortable for you or things like that. Like there are little things you can ask for. Or you can even ask for ordinary water dispenser. Oh, we need a water dispenser here, and your boss thinks you are asking for something that is too much. Little things like that can make work environment become toxic. So if a company, no one is growing, everybody has just been on one spot for, it might be, maybe the company is not a good place. Like the superiors are not supporting the younger ones to thrive. That might be what to watch out for too.
And there are other cases of where in a place, like I've worked in a place before many years ago, where there's always like training, that training you mentioned, where I was denied training so many times. And when I got to work, I was already thinking that, okay, you earn, by merit, you are supposed to be trained or moved up to do, to learn one thing or promoted. Promotion was not a problem because it was almost automatic. There was always but when it comes to training, learning new skills, giving more opportunities to do something or the other, I was just being sidelined or left behind. And although I was not the only one, maybe one or two, three of us. So, misery finds companion, right?
Yeah.
How do they say that saying? And we were like, why are they calling, not calling? We just felt okay, it would get to our turn one day or the other. And months got into years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Even newer people who came in after us were given opportunity to attend one training or the other that will benefit. And this training came with being paid some extra codes, some, stipends, for attending that 2-3 days training. But never got to my turn. I never realized that it had to do with a kind of caucus thing. Like you had to be close to yes, I was not like overly close, like I have to always every morning go and knock on my supervisor's door, director's door. Good morning, ma, because I was back in Nigeria. Good morning, ma. Good morning, and everything. And I did that. That was just brief greeting. But there were some people that always
buy
gift, settle, do some things just to gather favor. And it was all too because that was not the kind of expectation I had regarding that. So I don't know, was it a bad thing or a good thing for me to not have one time or the other, grease the palm so that I can attend?
The palm is wrong.
I can attend the training.
But one thing that you find in a toxic work environment, they have toxic cliques too. So I think that's what you're referring to, where people will form cliques either for cultural reason or for social reason. And then anybody outside the clique doesn't get all the benefits and training. So for you to be able to get all the trappings that come from the top, you have to be in that clique.
Exactly.
And so that in itself is
unfortunately, that environment, I couldn't find myself. I couldn't see myself out of work. Like you had to leave that work. I couldn't leave because I work in the hospital. I'm a professional health worker. Right. So that was like one of the biggest hospitals in the town. And if I was going to live there, where will I move to? I can't move to another town or another city. So I had to just put up with it. It was really stagnating for a very long time because year in, year out, I couldn't have the opportunity. So we already knew that our boss had some favorites and it made the environment actually toxic. So it actually divided the department into cliques and groups. So you had to try to seek this person's, one of her minions' favor to be able to so that I can speak on your behalf. And some people had to bring themselves to do that, but I couldn't bring myself to do that. So it made the environment really bad. A lot of gossip. If you're a supervisor, a boss, or somebody of authority at place of work, we need emotional intelligence to be able to manage people so that we don't create, because at the end of the day, people are not productive.
Yes.
I don't think that brings productivity at work. You might not see it immediately, but over time it tells.
So you talked about turnover. That's another thing that happens in a toxic environment.
They will lose good staff.
People will leave and it will affect the ultimate productivity of the place because anybody that is on the other side of the needle, you're just buying time to see if something good pops up and you're out the door. So you're out the door with your skill, with your capacities, and all the good things that you would have brought for that company.
So another sign I can say people can watch out for is not giving credit to your work. Like when you have a manager now, you are working, you can, even if it's the manager that is presenting or the superior that is presenting, maybe in the upper room that you as the subordinate does not, you can always give credit and say, oh, thanks to, or maybe when you send an email, just acknowledge, maybe, oh, thank you for Kemi's contribution or something, just acknowledge. It makes the work environment a good place, and it makes the person that is thinking beyond his or her level feel appreciated. Don't just carry my point and now go to the senior team and now start presenting like oh yeah, and
your idea.
yeah.
And if that thing is consistent, it makes the person really feel like I feel this place is toxic because person is not feeling appreciated. Like scenario, I can almost relate. It happened to me. But it was not like I felt that place was toxic. I learned a lesson, maybe because of my background. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, when you are trained to be overly respectful, overly, to shrink yourself. That is unfortunately, maybe, I'm sorry to say, but maybe the African culture kind of makes you not to like project yourself. You don't blow your horn. You don't want to, you don't, you don't want to announce yourself. You just feel like, oh, let me, diminish a little bit so that I don't feel like I'm showing off. You want to be humble. We think of it as humility. So there was a scenario, I observed something in a protocol we used to use, and I was like, oh, this protocol, there's a fault. It has a deficiency and everything. And I just called my immediate boss and I spoke to her about it. I'm like, oh, this is my observation about this point A, B, C, D. And I'm not faulting her or anything, but at that point, I realized that she initially said, oh, no, try to explain it away because there were one of the people that document writers. And she explained it away. But just immediately later that day, I saw a mail sent to everybody correcting that point I had that issue. I was happy I pointed out. I'm not even angry that she took up that, maybe, will I say, credit. Maybe she listened to me. But she
should have told you and said, oh, the good one.
Exactly. She didn't give me credit for that observation. It was as if it was not so necessary, but it now went into a mail that was sent to everybody correcting that document, and I didn't get the credit for it. I'm not fighting for the credit. However, I learned a lesson to speak up vocally to more than maybe one or two people so that they know it's my idea. And that's not the first and the second time or the third time. So I think I had been beaten almost 3 times, and I realized that when you speak, people now give you value for what you do, and it's
especially when you work in a corporate organization, you need to speak up. If not, you won't.
Imagine this, I will call it credit stealing now. If it becomes a pattern, it can make the person that is the brain box feel that this is toxic because I bring up ideas instead of me to get the accolades. My superior or whoever steals it, shines, and I don't get the
you shush my idea like it doesn't matter, and then because it's not coming from you. Exactly. And if it's consistent, I didn't bother about that. I only learned that, okay, now when you do it, make sure that you are the voice that says it out loud than for you to just say it behind, or it's like in a gist and then some person takes it up and projects it as theirs. Toxicity at workplace, what it can lead to. I mean, the impact it has on the staff, on the bosses, or whoever is being affected.
Well, I will start off with mental health, first of all. Because if I wake up Monday morning and I'm like, oh God, it's not because it's cold or I just don't want to go to work, but I'm afraid that what troubles will I meet today? What fires am I putting out? What pits have been dug for me? That can lead the person to depression, so that's the mental aspect of how a toxic workplace can affect, and can even go as far as being physical. When you're now calling in sick, when you're
a medical
condition. So those are 2 big ones.
Elaborating on the mental health and even the medical condition that might arise from toxicity. Some people develop constant headache because they are thinking, they are worried, they are anxious. It's a combination of so many things. I found myself in that shoes before. I mean, I can resonate with toxicity at workplace, where I go to work, I am so unhappy. I can't even pull myself to just find that joy and peace within me. And not like everybody was wicked to me or toxic to me, but majority of maybe the people that matter or the people that feel that they are very vocal. Yes, they are not like they matter. They are colleagues, but they are more vocal in the department and they are the ones speaking on you, pointing out your error and not pointing it out to you to correct you, but pointing it out to you to make you depreciate you, to diminish you, you to make others see you not in a good light. It's not that error, it's not, or the omission is not something that should really be highlighted or be pointed out in that manner. But there is mail sent to everybody. And I used to go to work and I come to work and I feel so bad. I just can't wait for 8 hours to come and end and just go back home. And then my husband got the brunt of it because I get home, I lament, I talk, I complain, I rant about every way I'm feeling. And it was really, well, it didn't affect my mental health mentally so badly. Yes, it affected in a way, but not up to the time I had to see a shrink or anything. But I really didn't enjoy that environment at all. So it could really affect. I go to work, I feel my headaches, I felt unwell completely. I don't know whether that was when I started having palpitations. I developed palpitations because every time your heart is always you have heartbeats. Even when you are at work, you're thinking, oh, what other error would they see about this? And this is a fast-paced environment where you can't even slow down enough too much to like go through your work 100 times. You have to like just move on to the next thing. So you couldn't just sit down and have enough time so that you just dot all your I's and cross your T's. So it was really a burden at that time. And at the end of the day, I had to just leave because I couldn't cope. I couldn't enjoy the environment again.
And that kind of thing, mental health that you talked about can also affect productivity. Because for you to be productive at work, you have to be in the right state of mind and right mental health. So if you're not happy, if you feel palpitation and things like that, and you don't even know what next, you don't know which of the tasks you would do, and someone will come and say, oh, you didn't do this well, you didn't do that well. Then you start guessing yourself. You start withdrawing. You don't even want to put out your best.
Your ideas.
Yeah, your idea, because you don't know. Yeah, so it can affect your productivity, and it can also affect how well you relate with other colleagues. Because it's only someone that is happy, a happy soul that would be jovial, that would be lively at work. Yeah. So if I'm not happy, then like the thing that would keep going on in your mind would be, how do I leave this place?
Exactly. And people can swing either ways of the pendulum, because when people are faced with stuff, they either fight or flight. So some people will now become overly too quiet in the office. They don't know what to say. Or another person becomes really aggressive,
like,
just so that
don't bring it on.
Don't just even come close to me. So it can affect.
So at times when the superior, like when a company, let me just say, when a company encourages a toxic work environment, then it's one way or the other affecting the company. Because when you are paying people to come and be productive, but when people are mentally disturbed and not happy, then
they're not doing their best.
And just because some set of people decide to make life to frustrate some other people, and they are getting their pay, so the company at times should not encourage, like maybe people in better upper position should not encourage things like that, because at the end of the day the company will suffer, because good staff would leave.
Yeah, another thing I observed in this environment, particularly in the Western world, America, UK, even Canada or Europe, I think generally, because I've read stories, I've heard incidents, and I've even observed also where there's this culture of reporting your colleagues. Like she said, some organizations encourage it. In fact, it's a policy. Always come and report. And I know back home or back in Nigeria, where we come from, I've worked there for decades. One of the things culturally we believe in, mostly, not 100%, but most people, what they do is practice is correct the maybe offender or the person that you feel is making that error, maybe because of our friendliness or of the way we interact. So correct this person first in a way that it doesn't look like you are trying to pull the person down or anything. Most times always a friendly reminder or a friendly pointing out. But on this side, as if you shouldn't even correct your colleague, report to the boss. And I've seen it happen in different spheres of life, different work organizations. People have said such. Is it a good thing for it to be a culture? Because it's like a work culture.
So this is my take. There's what they call emotional intelligence. So that relies a lot on the managerial position, where at the end of the day, you want the company to grow. You want productivity in the company. So if I were in that position, I would encourage, if they are pair as in the same level, You don't have to tell me. Correct the person. If the person doesn't take that correction, then escalate. Not that something that you could have said, oh, move this from point A to point B. Instead of you telling the person move it from point A to point B, you are now telling the manager, please, manager, tell him to move it from point A to point B. I don't think it creates that teamwork environment. That's just my view.
Yeah, some people do not want to pass like maybe their boundary. We all react differently. I might be corrected and I take it personal. Like, why are you my superior, or what? Why are you correcting me? So I think I would also at times might want to take it up because I don't know, people. That's one thing I learned here. Like, people with mood. The fact that you sit together, you smile at each other doesn't mean you will take to my correction. They might see it as like, yeah, like, what audacity do you have to? So the person that is the umbrella, maybe the person at least you can always listen to your superior. So at times you might, because meeting people and it might go beyond. They might term it as you are passing, like maybe intruding into.
You're passing your boundary.
Passing your boundary. That what right do you have to correct me?
Doesn't it also come across like you're reporting the person in a bad light?
And there's a way you can do it, and the way the manager handles it.
Okay.
The way the manager, and like for me, at times it's not reporting anyway. People see things and say, an example, where I work, we have this policy about perfume, use of perfume and anything, because it's a food company, right? So we have, people would not go and meet their colleague and say you used perfume. No, they would rather want to tell the supervisor that, oh, like this person who has this supervisor or manager in. If you are being like a fair person, you can actually just move closer to the person in a lighter mood, just because maybe and smell it yourself. Right. So you, instead of you now coming, oh, A said you use perfume, no, that will cause enmity. So I can just, I can just walk up to you and say, oh, hi, how are you doing? Maybe just talking to, or even assign a task. And from that way, I can smell it. So if I correct you, being your manager or supervisor, you wouldn't hold me, like, because there's a policy. But if a colleague goes there, it might become another thing. So,
yeah, I think you are correct so much. I both sides are correct, because sometimes there's a way that there are some form of correction that I prefer is whether you call me aside, particularly if you think it's something that might almost get me into trouble. Exactly. Maybe you first of all reach out to me. Also, like you said, maybe some other persons might wonder, would this person take it well? So it depends on how much you know me.
One of those things you play case by case. Because in my own reality, let's say maybe I was supposed to write a document and there are parts of the information that is missing that you have privilege to know about. You can just send, because maybe it's on our shared drive or something, that you read and you notice that, oh, there's a paragraph that is missing. And then you can say, oh, you missed this paragraph whilst you were putting this documentation. I think that would be better than you now send the whole document to the manager and say, copy,
highlight it.
Was not put in.
I know, then that's
putting me in a bad light.
Yeah.
You could have easily just, everybody makes that kind of error.
Yeah.
But I understand the perfume one, so that's a bit.
And there are some personal ones that you don't try to intrude into that person and say, talk about it if it's personal. But if it has to do with putting the person in trouble, or maybe the person making an error that if that person doesn't correct, it might make that person. I think if you say it, and then your tone and your manner of approach will make whether the person, although I know some people that even when you tell them in a nice way, they might still hold it against you for even coming to talk to them. They will take that correction because they know, okay, it's true. But they now give you an attitude that you like to correct people, maybe that kind of thing. You like to correct people, or they see it as if you're trying to show you know too much. So it's still case by case, person by person. And when you study the person and you know your limitation, you know your boundaries. So that means all we are saying is that it's not totally altogether wrong if you go to talk to the manager or supervisor instead of talking directly to
the person.
Well, most importantly is to create a good environment.
Don't do to others what you would not want them to do. it's a rule of thumb.
Yeah. But do
You
these
know?
people have this? Some people do not even. At times, I used to work with, like, I work with someone that would say, "Oh, talking about God, like, where's the fear of God?" Like, you say, "Where's the fear of God?" Like, when you are trying to say, "Oh, does someone have a fear of God?" Like, because if truly you have the fear of God, you wouldn't act this way. You would. But is it not someone that believes
the
there's God that would have the fear? Like, why are you saying like this? That is someone you are talking to. The person does not even acknowledge or believe that there's God, and you're now saying, "Where's he?" So for you to say what you do to people, it's because it's someone that has a conscience that believe. It's just because you believe in that.
Okay.
You That's why you think, "Oh, I should." Some people do not.
They don't care.
Like, they don't care. I don't know. Maybe their mental health is. Some people are messed up already in life and they don't care. They would rather want to mess
Let
up.
everything
Yeah,
burn.
edit everything. They don't care.
So, ladies, how do we think people can navigate this scenario? People are going through an environment they are not happy with. They are going to this kind of situation. How do they navigate it? What are possible solutions?
So I would say documentation is important because, especially in this climate, if incidences are happening, document it somewhere so that when push comes to shove, you have your proof. And then beyond documentation, speak up. Because again, if it's something that is happening between colleagues, the person might be doing it not knowing that you don't like it. So that's the error of whatever, omission or something. So you can call the person and say, "Oh, I will appreciate if maybe we do things differently." Now, if maybe you speak to the colleague and the person still doesn't budge, escalate it. Escalate it to the higher authority. So that would be my way to go for that. And then if it's really bad on your mental health, seek for help.
Oh no, that's very, very important because
Yeah.
if some people are, if you are experiencing something that is affecting your productivity, even when you get home, you can't almost take care of your kids.
Yeah.
Maybe you transfer aggression on your spouse
Exactly.
because you are having a shitty day at work and people are bullying you or making you feel too small. They're giving you a hard time at work and making you unappreciated. Then maybe you might need to just seek counseling to like pass through, get yourself out of that quagmire
Yeah.
and see how you can cope. Particularly if it's a place you can't just get up and leave at this, overnight. Yeah. And what other solutions and what likely possible avenues that people can?
Speaking up for yourself, do not be do as in don't allow anyone bully you. Even if they've been in the workplace for 50 years, 100 years, as long as your point is right, as long as you know what you're doing, don't let anyone bully you. Bullies would always, they are used to it. They will always want to silence you. Do not allow that. Just stand up for yourself. And I would also want to talk about, at times, not seeking help, like you said, yeah. Seek help if you need to talk to, and therapists do that, take that step. And one point I would also like to add is, at times, make the work environment, make it friendly for yourself, like make friends with people. At first uh they might come like, "I don't like you, I don't want to get close to you," but there's a way you can make friends with them. When they are on vacation, ask about when they are back, "How did your vacation go?" If someone is ill, check up on them. Just send ordinary message when they are back, or even if you have that kind of contact. "Oh, hope you are getting better. Wish you speedy recovery." Just quick one. Make friends, and before you know it, you might find that people who intentionally showed you that bad cold, yeah, might now start becoming welcoming and feeling at ease with you. So just make friends.
Yeah, I agree because it goes both ways, right? Because we are also learning, give me, I give you, right?
Yeah.
So it's, first of all, I would say, make your environment as friendly as possible. You can't just jump in somewhere and then you want people to be your friend, but you are not reaching out. So I think one of my first advice would be to reach out, be friendly, be as nice as possible to as many people, as everybody, approachable, be nice, be friendly, put a smiling face if possible, and make the environment as happy for yourself, because he that wants to make friends has to be friendly. Then another point I will bring out is, first of all, there's a thin line between you claiming a place is toxic and you actually putting things right. So if people are picking on you or pointing out omissions and errors, one of the first things I did at my own time was to make sure that I buffer my ability. I had to unlearn to relearn. So I had to like go to make sure that I, first of all, built my capacity and my ability so that I can be very competent enough to prove that, okay, I know this
know what
thing.
I'm doing.
And you are not going to easily be finding faults or holes in my submissions, except you just want to be petty or you just want to like attack me. So it's become obvious. So you also have to like develop your capacity, because there's nobody who actually wants a lazy co-worker. Nobody actually wants a co-worker that is always making mistakes and, you know, inefficient. That's the word. Because over time, it becomes annoying. I mean, if your coworker too is not pulling their weight as much as they should, it becomes something that you also, personally, I want to escalate to my manager and report like, please can't talk to that person. It's not doing what he or she's supposed to be doing. If you're sleeping at work when you're not supposed to be sleeping, you know, I might tolerate you once, twice, 3 times and maybe talk to you. But if it is, you develop an I don't care attitude, then you are setting yourself up for failure, truly, and setting yourself up for people to dislike you at the place of work. So there are things that need to be corrected to, first of all, take that step and make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's and you are not found wanting. More of, you mentioned escalation.
Yeah.
Escalating to HR or to a more superior person that you think is not in the team of people causing the toxicity.
But how do you know?
Well, sometimes you have worked there for some time, so you should know that everybody's not a stranger to you at that point. So if you want to escalate something, you'd have also studied that environment to know who you're going to talk to. If to the very end of your boss, they're all against you, then
something, check yourself.
Check yourself, or you should then, you are not really wanted. However, if there is a proper structured organization, there must be somebody high up who has the right sense to know how to handle this situation. But if you're going to escalate, make sure that you are without fault.
That's why I talked about documentation.
He who must allege must also show that me too. What they are, I have evidence. I didn't do this. My hands are completely clean. Because if your hands are not completely clean, that you can beat your chest to it, then you should just suck it up and try and make amends before you can now think of taking it if it continues and if it's persistent. So all that said and done, ladies, we don't know it all. We are actually sharing our opinions and our views. We hope to bring a professional into this mix. Continue watching this page and I'm sure you will learn something. We have shared our opinions. You too, share your opinion in the comment section and we will want to hear from you and learn from you. Final words from our ladies.
Be intentional at your place of work. We've showed you what the possibilities and the solutions are. And if you're in a toxic work environment, try and find a way to be happy.
Learn to make friends where you work, make friends with your colleagues. And if at the end of the day, you know you've tried your best, stand up for yourself. And if that is not working, I would follow Izo's advice, leave.
You've heard it all. Our ladies have said it all. I don't need to repeat it. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, life
is for the living.
Thank you.